Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
I remember when the ATL wasn't banging, now they banging, 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 banging. Niggas throwing sets and them bullets start ringing, bitches banging, 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 banging. I remember when the ATL wasn't banging, now they banging, 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 banging. Niggas throwing sets and them bullets start ringing like bang, bang, oh, bang, bang, bitch, nigga, bang, 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 oh.
Yo, peace, peace, peace. What's going on? What's happening, man? Back at it, back at it. I hope everybody else had a good fourth, man. Y'all ate good, you know what I'm saying? You grilled out, you popped some fireworks, you know what I mean? You drank pretty good. Hope y'all enjoyed y'all holiday. I know a lot of people had a damn 3-day weekend for some odd reason. I don't know why, but the people at the office where I work, they was off on Friday. I'm like, why? Like, what the fuck is going on? I wasn't fucking off. You know what I'm saying? The hell, I went off yesterday, even though I was in a bad way. I was bad, y'all. Like I struggled throughout getting to Florida yesterday, man. I struggled. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. You know what I mean? I was at the cookout on Saturday, man, and you know, a time was had, man. I mean, you know, I in all actuality, I didn't do shit. I didn't do shit, but I did struggle yesterday. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. You know what I mean? I for the most part just like played the game on Saturday and you know enjoyed myself. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, some people was on a 3-day weekend. I'm like, what type of shit? But anyway, you know, I hope everybody you know, enjoyed the holiday or whatever. And now it's time to get back on the schneid. You know what I mean? It's time to get back on the schneid and be productive. Be productive. So the title I got today is very interesting. It's very interesting. And also, man, I got like this twinge and it's like in my neck and in my shoulder area, man. It's been fucking with me too, man. Like a pinched nerve or some shit. You know, I mean, it don't hurt or nothing. It's just nagging. You know what I'm saying? So I'm dealing with that too. Like, you know, it got me like pretty fucked up. It's just a hindrance. You know what I'm saying? It's aggravating. But in any event. So you see the title, and I don't know why it's traffic. Like, why is it traffic right here? I'm on 95, headed up to Jacksonville. It's fucking almost 1:30 in this damn traffic. Like, I'm trying to like, what's going on? But y'all see the title today. It's the economy, stupid. Voters are politically shallow. And I've always thought that. I've had conversations with people, and I say, listen, man, a lot of you motherfuckers, y'all just don't understand how our republic works. That's just a fact. Ain't no shying away from it. Ain't no getting around it. Ain't you can't put like no sugar coating on it. It is what it is. A lot of motherfuckers just don't understand how our system of government works. They just don't. Hell, to be completely honest, a lot of them don't give a shit. To keep that shit real, a lot of them don't give a shit. MAGA maniacs and lefty loonies alike. You know what I'm saying? That's why I've always gravitated toward libertarianism, because of that aspect of setting a solid foundation on what the country is, government, as far as the government, governmentally, is, if that's a fucking word. You know what I'm saying? But as I did a 360 and looked around of what libertarian politics looked like, I was like, no, I can't fuck with this. I can't. These motherfuckers are just as loony. Just as loony. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I've never identified as a libertarian. Do I have libertarian views mostly? Of course. But I could never fully commit to the Libertarian Party because they just as zany as somebody on the extreme right or the extreme left. So I just choose just to be moderate. Even if that's sacrificing some of the ideals that I hold as far as my principles, I understand through the process of democracy and the representation of certain districts and states, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm alone. That's what I do. I was watching Politicon's War Room podcast yesterday. It hosts Al Hunt and James Carville. And they had a guest on. And, they were talking about, the current situation that we find ourselves in. The totality of politics in general. And the guest was talking and he said, hey, going back to James Carville's words, it's the economy, stupid. A lot of people are going to vote with their own personal and individual situations, despite, whatever the environment is at this particular time. And it was that was an epiphany to James Carville. And he had to respond to what was said. And James Carville said, it was so profound when I said it all those years ago. But living in the current situation we're in right now, he's grown to detest the phrase, it's the economy, stupid. Because, I guess he just didn't see it back then, because he was, full-throated in campaign with Clinton and everything, and, doing what he could to do to win, whatever the situation. He said he's grown to detest the phrase based on the fact that now he understands, after all these years, length of maturity, that people will bypass corruption. People will bypass institutionality of just the structure of government. People will bypass all of that shit just to get lower egg prices, just so that gas can go down. Not saying these aren't important things. Let's not get it twisted. These things are definitely important in our lives. But we fail to realize the inner workings of how that shit happened. You know what I'm saying? All we care about is the here and now. We want it down now. That's it. Even myself, I mean, I feel the same way. But sometimes you got to step back and say, hey, look, why is this happening? And in that realization of understanding why that's happening, radical ideals start to take shape and take hold. This is why we had the Tea Party during Obama's administration. This is why we had the advent of MAGA maniacs with the evolution of the Tea Party, so to speak. And this is why we now have democratic socialism on the rise in this country. That's a fact. That's a fact. Still, the shallow look of how we view our own reality. That's why I say everybody is an individualist. If you don't understand that, I don't give a shit what type of ideology you got. When everything boils down, when I look at you deep within your core, you are an individualist because that's your nature. That's just a fact. You know, yes, we can group together based on commonality. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But at the end of the day, it's you and you alone who's affected. Because that's the only way that you can look at it. I'm talking about in a political sense. That's the only way that you can look at it. It's damn near impossible to look at it any other way. You have to be radicalized to the point of no return. And I'm talking about like communist level radicalization in order to break your own nature. Because that's what the shit really boiled down to. And even then, you know what I'm saying? It's still remnants of individualism in you. It's still remnants of individualism. Because you were born and bred to look out for you. That's it. That's it. Again, as human beings, you know, we got the innate ability to override that shit. And I always say that. Compassion and protection of the people that you love. That's something that comes within social camaraderie. You know, we value it as a virtue, which is fine. I ain't got no issue with that. But it is my belief that that's not innate. It's not your nature. That's just my belief. It can be debated. So all those years ago, you know, 30 some odd years ago, it's the economy stupid when James Carville uttered those words. He didn't take into account what it meant from a structural standpoint. Always bring up the Continental Congress and when the person came up and asked Benjamin Franklin, you know, what type of government the United States was going to be, and Ben Franklin said it's a republic if you can keep it. No other time are those words true than today. No other time. Life is a balancing act. No matter what the fuck you do, it's a balancing act. You have to prioritize things in your life based on circumstance, relativity, you know, outright common sense. Some people, including myself, sacrifice their own, let's just say, personal existence. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say that. It's certain things I wish I could do. I simply can't because of my job. But I knew that shit going in. I sacrificed part of my personal existence for a better life for my family, or at least better than what we had. You know what I'm saying? I knew that shit going in. People that work in mine shafts and on top of skyscrapers, doing all type of dangerous shit for the betterment of upward mobility, not for them per se, but for the generations after them, right? We all do shit like that because we've been socially engineered for, you know, to be family oriented, which is a good virtue. I'm not saying it's not. In today's age, 2026, that aspect of the broad overview, especially in urban life, right? That's why you see places like New York City, Denver, Boston, Philadelphia, Atlanta, all the major cities, you see a paradigm shift taking place. And like I said, I included Atlanta, even though Atlanta is more resistant based on geography and all that shit and social dynamic. But it's changing. Now we're seeing the sprouting of new, younger people that don't give a fuck about shit like that. They want to make as much money as possible, least amount of effort, with a bigger social net, social security net, social services. That's what they want to see. The Democratic Party, the Big Tent is what they call it. The Big Tent, you have a wide spectrum of viewpoints. Some may say center right leaning, ultra moderate. Some people will put me in that category. Center right leaning, ultra moderate on one side of the spectrum. To outright seizing the means of production on the opposite side of the spectrum. That's your Big Tent. The thing that's supposed to mold and shape the ideals of the Democratic Party is social liberalism. Now, I'm gonna do a separate video, and this topic really serves better in a MD's Talk Box Live, because a lot of motherfuckers really don't understand what liberalism is. Not in the classical sense, nor the modern. They don't understand. They don't understand. What separates a person like me, who leans more libertarian, and a person like a modern day liberal, is the government apparatus and what its position is in regards to freedom and civil liberty. Both agree in equal protection under the law. Both agree with civil rights. Both agree with personal liberties and freedoms. Both. Peace, Ricardo, what's up? Both of them agree with that. What differentiates the two is how to get to that point. Liberals often argue that it's the government's responsibility in order to facilitate equality and you know, marginalized groups, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, that's fine. And again, if that's what's put into law, so be it. That's why you never hear me argue those points. But what about libertarians? Libertarians believe in limited government. Government is not there to push because we are the morally superior society, it should be natural for us not necessarily equal protection, but civil rights. Let's just I think I'm in a bad spot. I'm coming up on 295. So what I'm saying is, libertarians believe it should be facilitated through the actions of the people. Liberals believe it should be facilitated through the actions of the government. That's literally the only difference between a liberal and a libertarian. Socially. That's the only difference. But what of the actual people themselves? What do they believe? What do they believe? Well, James Carville said it best. It's the economy, stupid. They're willing to bypass any social advancement if they get money in their pocket. If they're willing to get money in their pocket. Yeah, that's what I just said, Ricardo. I knew I was in a little bad spot. It is what it is. I ain't worried about it. In 92, James Carville said it. In 2026, he now detests it. According to his words, not mine. According to his words. Ricardo said the libertarians. I can't see it because of the damn shit in the way. Oh, let me. The libertarians are only saving grace to the Democratic Party. I don't know about that. Because libertarians usually don't. Libertarians don't fuck with the Democrats because libertarians don't fuck with liberals. They don't fuck with liberals. Me in my moderate position, because I'm moderate on a lot of shit. See, that's the power of being moderate. A lot of people try to bullshit and claim they ain't moderate. They moderate. They moderate. I talk shit about Van Cat. Van Cat is a moderate. Don't get it twisted. Van Cat is a moderate. He just don't want to admit it. Damn, that wind blowing. Van Cat is a moderate because a lot of shit that Van Cat talk about, he's socially conservative. I just got to be honest. In a lot of ways, I'm more liberal than Van Cat. In a lot of ways. Van Cat will come up here and talk that socialism shit all day. Then when you start talking about we'll have a conversation about women or some shit, then he'll throw that shit out the window. Van Cat believe these women should be barefoot in the kitchen, rearing children. That's a fact. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. But then again, in Soviet Russia, a lot of the leadership in the USSR believe the same fucking thing. So, there's that. And it look like it's finna storm again, man. This shit is insane. I'm in Jacksonville, man, and the damn sun is swallow. It was hot as hell in St. Augustine. Hot as hell, sun blaring down. Now the sun is gone. Look like it's finna storm like hell. This weather this summer, man, I ain't never seen no shit like this. This weather has been insane. Absolutely insane.
Keep left.
This shit is crazy. Florida is on her period, yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it ain't just Florida, it's the South, period. It's storms and shit everywhere, man. But, back to what I was saying. It's the economy, stupid. People are going to vote based on their own individual circumstance. I can prove you an individualist if you say that you're not till you blue in the face. I can prove it. When we talk about the economy, we're not talking about it from a group standpoint, even though it's going to affect the group, of course. You're not talking about it under those parameters, though. You're talking about it from your point of view. That's the only way that you can. That's the only way that you can. That's a fact. Look, I'm fucked up. I can't go to the doctor. I can't afford rent. I can't afford transportation. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. In 2024, these were common perspectives among the MAGA faithful. They didn't give a shit if it was true or not. All they could go off of is what their reality was in that present moment.
Right.
That's it. Man, this wind is blowing, man. Gee, and it's raining now. This wind is something fierce, though. So that's where we at, and that's what I'm sitting here telling. When I heard James Carville say that yesterday, I said, man, that's a huge revelation. It's a huge revelation. In the heat of the moment, I understand why he said it. It makes sense on the surface level. But again, voters are politically shallow. In the here and now, you got Democratic Socialists talking about essentially dismantling the Constitution. Essentially. Talking about abolishing the Senate, abolishing borders, abolishing prisons, all type of crazy shit. All type of crazy shit. But it's under the guise of healthcare for all. And once you hear something like that, that's going to be economically advantageous to you, everything else is fuck all. It's the economy, stupid. And that's just where we at. That's just what we got. I just wanted to come up and say that real quick. Let me give a quick announcement for this week. So I told y'all I got issues with my charger or whatnot. I was supposed to get my charger this weekend and I forgot it. I forgot it at home. And I didn't realize it. I pulled out my laptop yesterday. And I said, oh shit. I forgot my damn home charger. So we're going to see how this is going to work this week. I'm going to still try to do a show. If not, then I'm just have to wait till next week. Because like I said, because I got this short in this charger in my truck, it clicked my damn shit on and off and do all type of crazy shit. So I'm gonna see how this gonna work. We might do a show this week. We might not. I don't want to make no promises right now because of my situation with my power or whatever. So we'll see how everything play out. If we don't do a TFP, worst case scenario, I do like a Thought Box Live where I ain't really beholden to anybody else and I can just rock out. Of course, guests still invited, but it ain't gonna be as formal. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be as formal, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see how everything go. With that being said, obviously it ain't gonna be no Fallout walkthrough. And I was home. And I actually replayed the beginning of the game up to Shady Sands, and I was going to just start from there on the stream, on the playthrough, but I guess we'll just have to wait now. But it's all good. It's all good. So, yeah, man, voters are politically shallow, man. And I'm not saying that's not to be expected because obviously it is. Politicians understand that. Trump damn sure understood it. James Carville understood it in 1992. But is it right? Is it right to have low expectations on the constituency? Should we focus more on campaigning or should we focus more on political literacy is what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. I think political literacy is important. We all should have a base understanding of what it means to be an American from a government standpoint. We all should have that basic ability to know what's what. And the fact of the matter is we don't, as a group, as a whole. Whether it's because of ignorance or just not giving a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I think we play a dangerous game when we got people that's trying to reshape and restructure the Constitution. And again, that's on both sides. It's on both sides. MAGA maniacs and lefty loonies alike. So at the end of the day, man, you just got to remember, and I'll leave y'all with this. The United States of America is a republic if you can keep it. The question now becomes, can we keep it? So I just wanted to give that message real quick. Anything else pop up news-wise, I'll be sure to bring it. I'll be sure to bring it. With that being said, hey, man, enjoy y'all week. Again, hope everybody had a great 4th. And but yeah, with that, but I say peace, y'all.
Yeah.